Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. Hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful week so far. Let's say hello to everybody cruising on the high seas. Hope you are doing well as well. Congratulations on getting to 1,000. Let's hope you get there tonight. Congrats on that. That's awesome. Fred and Lisa, hello. Good to hear from you guys today. Hope you guys are doing well. Eric, hello to you as well. 28 days until Aqua. Can't wait to hear what you think about NCL Aqua. It's super exciting. Mike, very funny. MSC would not honor our back-to-back passes for a third week, so they made you leave under protest. Glad you guys had a great time. I see you booked a back-to-back for Grandiosa. I didn't see that come through, Mike. Did you do that at like the Future Cruise desk? Let me know. I didn't see anything on it. Tom and Sharon Murphy, welcome back from your gigantically long trans-world cruise. Hope you guys had a great. I mean, I know you guys had a great time because you sent me an email already. So I'm glad you guys had a wonderful time. Roll Tide, hello. How are you doing? Good to hear from you today. 66 days until Celebrity Edge in Alaska. That is correct. Rob Harvey, hello. Welcome to the live stream. Matt Ryan, hello. How are you, sir? Felicia, welcome. Hope you're having a great night. Rick K, hope you're having a great day. Rick was in Philly last week trying out some cheesesteaks. JC, recovering from a great cruise on Meraviglia to Bermuda, getting back to regular life stinks. Sure does. Doesn't it? It's nothing better than cruise life, I'm telling you. Kathy, welcome to the live stream. Hope you are doing well. Robin, hello. Good evening. Had the best time on World America, now thinking about MSC in Europe. Maybe Virtuosa to Norway. Funny you should mention Europe. Peter and Melinda that are on Seascape or Seashore right now. I forget which one they're on. I think it's Seascape. They booked MSC World Asia yesterday, and they are going, which is going to be in the Mediterranean, which is kind of funny since it's being built for Asia, but it's doing its inaugurals in Europe. So that's awesome for them. They're going, that's April of 2027. So crazy, so far away. Katie Myers, hello, welcome. Hope you are having a good day as well. Leslie Trent here, ready for those NCL Epic upgrades that are being done this week. Sandy, hello, how are you? Hope you guys are doing well up there in Buffalo. Just talked to Emily from the airport in Buffalo. Roll Tide, Robin, we booked World America. There you go, February 2027. So much fun. 16 days till Jewel. Kathy, I hope you have a great time on Jewel. It's such a cute little ship. You're going to have a wonderful time. Ashley, hope you are doing well. Welcome to the live stream. The live scream. We're just going to scream for an hour. Tim, hope you're doing well. Kim, hello. Went overboard and booked Mardi Gras, Norwegian Aqua, and World America for next year. Kim, that's amazing. That is awesome. Mike said, JC, we had a great time as well. Weather first couple of days could have been better, but what a great trip. Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? Right? Tony, hello. How are you doing? Brian here. Philly's bullpen is going to give me a nervous break. Yeah, every day, Brian. That's what happens every single day. It goes from like 8 to 1 to like 8 to 6 in like a hurry. All right, welcome everyone. Tonight we have with us Jess. Jess is from She Walks with Dogs. We're going to get to know Jess and all about what she does over the next hour. We're going to talk about pets and everything. So Jess, welcome to the live stream. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I've been watching some of the videos, and it's cool that you have all these followers who are in the live chat.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's really crazy. I have no idea why. I don't know why. So tell us about yourself, Jess. Where are you from? How did you get into doing this? And tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so my business is She Walks with Dogs. I'm a pet care professional since 2020. I'm excited to be here because AJ invited me. I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia. It's called Delaware County, and we met at a business networking event. So I'm one of the pet care specialists in the group. I think I'm like one of the only ones, but yeah, I've been providing dog walks and boardings at my home. Occasionally I'll do feedings for cats or cage and tank animals. I just fed my neighbor's guinea pig recently, so that was maybe like the smallest animal that I've worked with. My only pet is a 7-year-old catfish. It's 11 inches long, and it's in my 65-gallon tank behind me, if you can see it.
Yeah, that's
He
amazing.
likes to eat zucchini, which people tend to get a kick out of. And I just always like to encourage pet parents to travel so that they can support the pet service industry, whether that's with me or someone local to you. And like I said, I'm just outside of Philly, and next year, like spring of 2026, they're opening the port of Philadelphia for some cruises. So it's really good timing to be on here.
It sure is perfect timing. So I'll give everybody a little experience. So I have a dog, obviously, that I board when I'm not here. And from my perspective, I mean, it's like one of the most stressful things, I think, when you travel and you have a pet, just making sure that you feel comfortable with whoever is taking care of your pet, that things are going to go well, that they're safe, that everything's going to be simple. So I know that's a huge thing for me. And for me, it's like it's sometimes it's more expensive than my trips. Wherever Peanut's going is more than where I'm going, which is really funny. But it is super important, and I really appreciate it. So let's get into a couple. Let me handle a couple comments here, and then we'll go into some tips and tricks. So Robin said, "Roll Tide, you're gonna have the best time. It's an amazing ship." I concur. I thought World America was fantastic. Can't wait to go on it again. Ashley said, "Depending on circumstance, you just need to scream for an arrow. It's therapeutic." I couldn't agree more. Seems pretty on par for what's going on in the world. Charlie, good evening. Hope you are doing well here. JC said, "Welcome, Jess." Al Galloway said, "Let's have a doggone good time." I agree. Roger, welcome to the live stream. Hope you are having a great day. Roll Tide said, "Robin, we would have booked sooner, but we have 4 cruises booked between now and 27. We booked a suite because the prices are great." They really are. It's amazing. Kevin and Carrie Ann, welcome to the live stream. Kevin and Carrie Ann, that wedding is coming up very, very soon. It's getting closer and closer. It's crazy. Bob is here. 51 days till Symphony of the Seas, this ship we were on with Sandy, when Sandy and I had the pleasure to meet you, plus Emily, Amanda, and Dakota. Won't be as much fun, but thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate that. I had a great time with you guys. Can't wait to cruise with you guys again. And now you have your own very, very own travel agent daughter, so you can book all your fun trips with Emily. So that is awesome. All right, Jess, so let's talk about first thing let's talk about is, what do you think are like the most important things when you're picking a pet sitter or a dog walker or something like that?
Yeah, so I think there's 3 things to look for in a pet sitter, and the first thing I recommend is always have a meet and greet. You can get a lot of referrals and recommendations from like Facebook, Google, friends and family, and those are always a good place to start. You want to hear someone's experience, and then have a meet and greet so you can meet the pet sitter in person. And then there's 3 things you want to look for when you are meeting them in person. You want to know about their experience, which you'll get a good handle on from some reviews, from pictures on their website or their social media, and also just how they interact with your pet during the meet and greet. That's a really good sign. If they're, really friendly with your dog, or if they know how to respond as soon as they walk into the house. Sometimes it's best when you walk in the house to sort of like almost like ignore the dog to see how they react. Speaking as a pet sitter, like I want to see, like, are they comfortable with me? Do I have to give them space? Getting a lot of information from the pet parent, because pet parents know their dogs best. So that's the first one, is experience. And then during your meet and greet, I think sometimes it can be a really important question to bring up of if they have insurance, as a pet caregiver, because you just want to be prepared for emergencies. You want to be prepared for worst case scenarios. And a pet caregiver insurance will usually cover any damages that happen in the house while they're with your pet. It can also cover if you give the pet caregiver a key into your home and they lose that key, it'll cover the replacement. And then if your dog is with the pet caregiver out on a walk, for instance, and then maybe they get into like a tussle with another dog, it covers any like damage done during that situation. So that's something that's really important. It can be like, it shouldn't be an awkward question to ask if they have insurance because, I mean, if they're doing it like full time, if it's their passion, it really is a business. I do it full time. It's my business. It's not a side gig for me. So it's just really a safety thing for myself and the pet parents. And then that leads into pet safety. Again, it's you want to be prepared for emergencies. And so there's a lot of ways that both a pet care professional and pet parents can learn pet safety, but especially when you're hiring someone to take care of your pet, you want to know that they have an education to prevent any kind of situation that could come up, whether it's like what can the dog get their mouth on, like cleaning supplies, maybe jumping on the kitchen counters and eating something they're not supposed to. And there are definitely certain foods that dogs shouldn't have. How do you respond if you notice that a dog has eaten chocolate? What do you do if you enter the room and the dog is just on the ground, lifeless? Like, what's your first steps? So, those are things that you want to know that your pet caregiver is knowledgeable about, is like worst case scenarios. We don't ever want to come across that situation, but if you're prepared for the worst, you can really enjoy the best. And then I do have some suggestions for pet safety resources that are great for pet parents. So, like I said, you want to make sure your pet sitter is knowledgeable in these things, but I think it's really great for pet parents to know too, so they're prepared for an emergency. And then they might also just get some insight into how their dog works. So I took a course from dogsafe.ca. It's a Canadian website. It's completely online. It's very extensive. It's about a 6 to 8 hour course, but you watch a video of the lesson being taught in person to a group of pet parents. So you can pause it and come and go as you please nowadays, whether you just have a lot going on around you. If you're trying to get it done in the house and maybe you've got kids running around or you have to take your pet out, you have to pause. It makes it really convenient for that. And then also there's a lot of, this one has a really extensive quiz at the end of it. I'm pretty sure it's like 150 questions because it covers so much information from prevention to reaction. So it is $130, but it's just so much information that it's definitely worth it. So that's the first one. I'm certified in dog safe. And then the next one that's a bit more feasible for a lot of people that I highly recommend is a CPR certification, and that's through Recover Initiative. It's only an hour, and that one they want you to pass the test, so they ask you questions intermittently throughout the lesson. It's got pictures of different chested dogs. So there's 3 different types of chests, and that determines how you perform CPR on a dog. It's only an hour, it's $35. It's really comprehensive. It is all like reading, it's not like videos. So that's like one big difference. And then the third pet safety resource I highly recommend is the ASPCA website. So they have just a ton of safety tips. They're pretty geared towards like pet care professionals, but they have a lot of like graphics that you can print if you're in the pet care business and you needed like safety posters to put in the workspace. But they're really comprehensive for pet parents. They have got posters of different kinds of flowers that are dangerous or what's toxic and what's safe, which is really good during the spring when you're maybe traveling with your dog and they're being exposed to a whole new environment. And then they also have the poison hotline, which I'll get to in a minute.
Nice.
I feel
That's
like that's
awesome.
a lot already.
No, that's great. All right. So yeah, if anybody has questions for Jess, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Obviously, if you have questions about cruising as well, throw those in there. And also for everyone that is here, if anyone's new, please just say hello in the chat so we can add you to the wheel. AJ's going to add you to the wheel. We're going to give away coffee. We're going to give away t-shirts, the whole 9 yards as per normal. Hope, good evening. Hope, glad to see you. Good talking to you today. Laura is here. Hello to everyone. Natasha said great info, and she has a little dog picture there. So there you go. Lois asked about certifications, which we just talked about a little bit. So Lois, specifically with most careers, there's not really, it's a little bit of the Wild West with most things with certifications. I think the big thing that Jess brought up too is it's so important to do a face-to-face, have your dog meet the person, even to do some things. I know with Peanut, the first year that I had her, I had like a dog walker come a few times, and I made sure that so they were completely comfortable. We did a couple walks together, and they got an understanding of how Peanut wants to murder every squirrel on the planet, that kind of stuff. So, hey, Kristen, welcome to you. All right, so we have a question here. Lois said, are there any types of dogs that you won't take?
So the good thing about the meet and greet is it's a two-way street. Like you can understand what the temperament and the personality of the dog, and also the pet parent. You can get a vibe for each other because, like we talked about, trust is really important. So a lot of times it just comes down to like the personality and the temperament of the dog. There's only been like one or two times where I've given it a try and we've just come to the understanding that it's not the safest thing. And that's just if a dog maybe doesn't have a lot of discipline and there's just too much room for a dangerous situation. So especially if they're a really big dog, like 100-pound dog, and they don't do well on the leash. I've had cases where the pet parent just says, can you just keep him to your backyard? Don't take him on walks. Like, we understand that that's a risk. We're comfortable as the pet parents taking him for a walk, but we don't want to put that situation on you. So that was a different request for me, but it was really great that they still wanted to make it work. And I've had that dog stay with me for over 2 weeks, and he loves the backyard. He loves rolling in the grass and laying in the sun. But yeah, a lot of it just comes down to like safety. John made a really good point that especially if you're going to go on a big trip, you want to do those walks or maybe like a short day board before you leave that dog alone with somebody else for an extended period of time. This way you can build a bond with each other. And I've definitely seen our relationships grow, like me and a dog. Like at first they don't really know who you are, so they might be a little bit hesitant. But the more and more time that we spend together and the more I understand how to communicate with them, we can trust each other and then everything goes really smoothly. And that's the best thing, is to like watch the relationship get closer and closer, and then we just become best friends.
So true. It's awesome. Natasha said, vacations are no fun if you are worried about your fur baby the whole time. It's very, very true. I agree. Jeff said, Thomas said, great info. Jeff said, are there any cruises that allow pets? There are. So Cunard's, some of their ships, they have kennels. It's a very small amount of kennels. I think it's like 23. I will tell you in a second. It was so close. There are 24 kennels. They do have dedicated space for owners to walk the dogs, to play with the dogs in those areas. The dogs are not allowed in the rooms. The only cruise recently that has allowed dogs was a Margaritaville at Sea cruise, and obviously they don't care about their ships at all. So why would they? Why would they care about having pets on board? Very funny. So, but yeah, Cunard does. They're a little more upper crusty and it's a little more controlled, but it's nice because a lot of those cruises are transatlantic or going somewhere where you may be actually taking your pet somewhere to the other side of the country or the other side of the world. So you can actually transport them there as well, which is really, really nice. Lois said, do you recommend that the pet parent video the pet when they are on vacation? Do you recommend the pet parent
video chat? Maybe.
Maybe.
think they would love that. I mean, I always send videos to the pet parents while I'm watching them. I mean, but what's the connection like on a cruise though? Like, could you do a FaceTime?
You could. I always think like for me, I always think like it's better to not do that because I kind of like don't want to mess with whatever like the vibe is that you have going. So like whoever's watching the pet, I always feel like first of all, I don't want to be like a helicopter parent where I'm like I want to FaceTime my dog. But the other thing too is I don't want to disturb, like I don't want to get the dog all riled up and have them because they're getting into a groove. It's difficult sometimes to like leave your pet. And I think sometimes it just makes you, because I know like where Peanut goes for daycare and where I board her sometimes, they have cameras, like I can look and watch her and everything. And I try to like not do it because it just makes, you get upset because you miss your dogs and everything.
Do you have a limit?
What?
Do you have a limit on how many times you can check the camera?
No, you can just watch it on live feed.
I learned that Kate daycare, where she takes her son, parents are only allowed to check the cameras 3 times a day because otherwise it just ate the bandwidth.
I mean, that's probably so smart that they don't let them do it all the time. Plus, it's like you don't need them watching all the time because you just have people, especially with dogs and children, people are just nuts. So you're going to get crazy pet parents and regular parents. Thomas said, does Jess have a website or Google business? She does. Her website is right in her name here. It's shewalkswithdogs.com. Shewalkswithdogs.com.
Yeah, I have reviews on there from other pet parents. There's a few pictures of my clients so you can see the different range of sizes of dogs. And then all my services are on there. I like to keep it really transparent. I know when I'm looking for a business service, it's not my first choice to have to call to get a price. I'd rather just have all the information up front so that I know.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's super helpful. So yeah, and we're also going to we're going to put a link to all of Jess's tips at the end for you to be able to download it. We have that ready to go. Roger said, don't forget you are going rover hunting on Icon. Yeah, Jess. So I'm going on Icon of the Seas on Saturday, which is the current largest cruise ship in the world. And on the Icon, they have a chief dog officer whose name is Rover that lives on board of the ship. It is a golden retriever, so you get to say hi to Rover. But Rover doesn't like huge crowds, so it's got to be like small crowd interactions. And they have a list of like words you're not allowed to say to Rover. You're not allowed to say like ball or treat or certain things. So hold on, I'll pull up a picture.
What happens if you say them? Do they just like
trying to get a free ride?
They probably just yell at you if you say them. That's all I'm guessing. They're not. What are they going to do?
Take Rover away? Be like, you can't see Rover anymore.
Yeah, you are banned from seeing Rover now. I'll pull up a picture of Rover here. Here is Rover. Let me find the present button. Screen.
The present button's hidden right behind the camera.
Yeah. There's Rover.
Oh my gosh. What a good boy.
So cute. So Rover is prepared and ready to go. So we're going to be hunting down Rover. Ryan said, what did I miss about Real ID? You didn't miss anything. I did a video today, Ryan, about Real ID since it kicked in today. So it nothing to do with cruising. You don't need a Real ID to cruise. You can cruise. The rules remain the same. You either have to have your passport, which I highly recommend, or you have to have your actual birth certificate, your raised seal birth certificate, and your regular driver's license. You don't need a Real ID or anything like that. And then for flying now, if you are flying domestically, you either have to have your passport or a Real ID, enhanced ID, whatever one that you have. So if you don't have a Real ID or an enhanced ID, you do need a passport to fly domestically starting today. You will not be allowed to fly with just your regular driver's license. So
but passport cards work, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, they do. I think you can use your passport card with your driver's license.
What about for like a child?
Yeah. Because they don't have
Okay.
regular passport books, and they don't have driver's licenses anyway. So
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Klaus came out today. He's like, "Do I need a real ID?" I'm like, "I don't know how to get you a real ID. You're 11."
No, yeah, he doesn't need a real ID. He's fine. Natasha said, going on Icon on July 5th, my Golden loves people, but it's a jumper. Yeah, that's pretty standard Golden. That sounds about right. JC said, we had a dog you could not say car around. She loved car rides so much. That's adorable. That is awesome. Lois said, lucky Rover. Ryan said, I screwed up and didn't renew my passport for Bermuda cruise this month. Sounds like I'm good to use birth certificate and regular driver's license. Yeah, so if you're going on a cruise as well, just keep in mind that your passport has to be good for 6 months past the date of your cruise. So if you're going on a cruise this week, your passport has to be good until like October, November, whatever that is. So yeah, regular driver's license and your birth certificate are good. Just remember it has to be your actual raised seal birth certificate. Sandy said, so Jess, if you're looking for cruisers to bring their pets to you to watch, they may need some pet-friendly hotel options for prior to your pet sitting. So Sandy's saying, like, if people are flying in from Buffalo, like Sandy lives in Buffalo, or California or something like that, and they're going to cruise out of Philly and they would like to board with you, it would be great to have some pet-friendly hotel resources for them as well. It's a great plan.
Yeah, and they're pretty cute. Like I've seen videos on social media of the pet-friendly places, and they have like the water bowl. They'll give, I think some of them have a little robe for your dog.
It's so cute.
Like they want you to know that they thought about your dog for this room.
Yeah, that's adorable. I love that. There are a lot actually in Philly. There are a decent amount of pet-friendly hotels. A lot of the ones on like the outskirts of the city that do like a lot of the extended stay ones as well do a lot of pet-friendly ones. Tony Diaz, welcome. Hello to you as well. Hope you're having a great day. Right now, let's bring up our sponsor. Our sponsor for the live stream every single solitary week is Mainly Coffee. If you go to mainlycoffee.com and you use the code BiteSize Cruises at checkout, you get 10% off your entire order. You can also scan that little fun QR code there with your phone, and you will get the 10% offer as well. Roger and Sarah working very hard. I haven't seen Roger and Sarah in a while, in a quick minute. So hopefully everything's doing well for them. I know they're struggling a little bit with the tariffs and everything. So hopefully everything's well there, but make sure you all support Mainly Coffee. We'll be giving out some Mainly Coffee in a little bit. Jimmy C said, we weren't dog people until Jenna got one. Now Laurie flips out if she doesn't see him every couple of days. That's awesome. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's so much fun. They give you so much love, except for Peanut, who just wants complete and utter autonomy from everyone and just sits outside all day by herself. But she is lovable in her own little way. Tom said, hi, all. Sorry I'm late. Never too late, Tom. Don't worry. You're always welcome anytime. Anyone else have any questions, comments about having your dog, any dog-friendly questions, anything like that? Feel free to throw them in there. I'm going to put the link to the document. So we have a little document here for you that you could check out and download.
Yeah, I can go on to the next part if you want.
Yeah, go for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so I have a couple tips on what to leave your pet sitter when you travel, especially if you're going to be away for a few nights, if you're going to be overseas. So we talked about the meet and greet, and usually what I do after meet and greet, once we agree that it's a fit, is I'll send my clients a pet profile. It's a lot about their daily routine. When do they go for a walk? When and how much are they eating? Are they really playful? Do they sleep a lot? What are their habits? And that's really so that if I know what's regular for them, what's normal and expected, then it's really easy to identify when they're being irregular. It's really normal that the first day or two they don't eat because they miss their pet parent. It's kind of like throwing a little tantrum, like maybe if I don't eat, they'll bring my parents back. But that's a really easy one, is the pet profile. I always say there's no request that's too absurd because it's your fur baby. So you know what's best, like you know what makes them happy. I had one client who was really into bubbles. So the pet parent brought me a little bubble machine and the dog would just chase the bubbles in the backyard and that just made her really happy. So that was an easy one. That was a really fun, quirky request. So you can add some of your quirks into the chat if you want. The second one is a pet first aid kit. It's similar to a human first aid kit, but there's some things from a human first aid kit that you won't find in a pet first aid kit and vice versa. So the pet first aid kit you can usually get in your local pet store or someplace like Target, probably Walmart. You can definitely get it online. It's it's pretty small. I'd say it's like the size of like a big hardback book. And then you can take out certain pieces to carry along with you when you travel, like for, especially now that it's getting warmer out. It's easy for me to carry that around with me because I have a backpack. Because I'll put like the collapsible water bowl and sunscreen and a bottle of water in the backpack. And so then I can carry some of the first aid kit stuff like tweezers, gauze, adhesive pads, some saline solution, and then 3% hydrogen peroxide is a good one too. I think some people know that it's to induce vomiting. If the dog eats chocolate, the best thing you can do is like call the poison hotline and then probably go to your vet depending on like what they ate and how much. But that's why you'll see hydrogen peroxide in a pet first aid kit. So if you don't have one, your pet sitter might already have one, so they might be able to bring one with them. But definitely let them know where it is in the house if you are providing one and make sure it's fully stocked. The other day I had my nieces and nephews over and I have Band-Aids, but like I ran out of like the big sized ones when they scrape their knees. So I had to make a mental note to go refill it. So if you have any kind of first aid kit, definitely check it. And before you leave your dog with somebody else, make sure it's fully stocked and that they know where it is. The next thing you should leave your pet sitter is a list of emergency numbers. I grew up in the 90s back when you would leave the babysitter like a list of phone numbers on the refrigerator. So it's similar to that, but now a lot of these you can put in your phone. I know I've mentioned a few times the Animal Poison Control Center. That's a really big one. It'll be in the document that John shares, but if you wanted to write it down, it's 888-426-4435. There is a little service charge for calling them, but if you're really nervous in the moment, it's worth it. Animal control is another good one to keep in your phone. If you're out with a dog and maybe you see a suspicious like wildlife animal really close to your home that's not usually there, you should call animal control and let them know. If you see maybe like a dead animal on the side of the road, you can let them know so they can come and remove it because you don't want other dogs to like possibly put their mouths on that dead animal. So animal control is a really good one. Definitely your primary vet, you should know the operating hours, the address, and the phone number. Before you leave your dog alone with somebody, especially for an extended period of time, you got to call your vet and have them put on your pet's file the name of your pet sitter. It's just going to make everything a lot smoother if the pet sitter has to bring your pet into the vet, because if you don't do that ahead of time, the vet's going to try to contact you to say like, do you know this person has your dog or did they steal your dog? And if you're not accessible, if you're off vacationing, you want to have a good time, you don't have to worry about that. So give your consent to the vet, have them put that pet sitter's name on the dog's profile before you leave. Also, write down the phone number and address for a 24/7 emergency vet. A lot of primary vets just have like standard operating hours. So when it's in the off hours, like if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and the dog is vomiting and vomiting and vomiting, you got to take them to the emergency vet. It's a really scary situation. So the last thing you want anyone to be doing is like fumbling with their phone trying to figure out where they're going. And if it's a place that will accept the pet. Whichever situation you're in, if they have to take them to the vet or the emergency vet, they will call ahead. And that's just as a pet parent, if you've never had to do that before, make sure you call. Because if it's an emergency situation, they'll make sure that as soon as you get there, they'll take care of you and your pet. And then hand in hand with that, the last phone number I would suggest is an emergency contact for a neighbor that lives near your pet. So we're talking about a situation where the pet sitter is coming to your house to stay with your pet. So you want it to be a neighbor that lives really close to the house, preferably somebody with a car. There are situations like CPR, like we talked about earlier, where it's really helpful to have two people. So whether you're performing CPR in the house and you want to switch off the chest compressions and breathing into the mouth, or if it's been too long and you have to transport them to the vet, it's a little bit easier if one of them is staying, like holding the dog, and then there's a second person driving. So that emergency contact is a huge help. I think it's something not enough people remember to do. Like, we just don't want the worst case to happen. So this is like my big tip to everybody is write these emergency numbers down. Make sure they're in your phone and make sure your pet sitter has access to them before you leave.
That's awesome. Mary said, great podcast. Thanks so much, Mary. Tom and Sharon said there was actually a service dog on the 24-day Miami to Barcelona cruise. Wow, that's a long one to have a service dog on for too. 24-day cruise. Sarah said, haven't even considered a first aid kit for my pup. That's so smart. There you go. Thanks so much, Sarah. Great.
Was the sunscreen for you or for the dog? Can you put sunscreen on dogs that aren't like
the one that I have in my bag is for me, but if you have a light coat, short-haired dog, they do need sunscreen. It's usually children's sunscreen.
Thank you. Sorry.
You're good,
It's
AJ.
like if you're bald, like you want to wear a hat and you want to use sunscreen, like that's what those short-haired light coat dogs are like.
Okay.
That's awesome. Natasha said, what happens if you're on vacation and have a pet sitter and there's a situation like a hurricane? Just like anything else, Natasha, it's, you have to take the cues from whatever's going on. You have to hope that there's a place that can accommodate if you have to, get out of that situation. It's just, some things are unthinkable at the time when you're going away, but we all know when hurricane season is, we all have to be prepared for situations like that. But generally speaking, there is going to be someplace you could take the dog that's safe. So yeah, that's a crazy scenario, but absolutely. JC said our wiener dog is used to getting up at 4:30 to do his business, so we feel bad for people watching him. Don't feel bad, JC. I will tell you right now. So Peanut currently, for some reason, has decided that she goes to bed at like 7 o'clock at night. So she'll go to sleep at 7 and she'll wake up at midnight. And then she wants to go for a walk at midnight. So we will go to midnight. We'll go for a walk at midnight and then come back in, and then she'll sleep till 6 a.m. and then we'll go out again. So fear not, because when I take her to boarding or whatever, that does not happen. So they are not as amenable to Peanut's schedule as I am. She sleeps until they take her out. So don't worry. It's all good. Murphy said we always took water from home with us for the dogs to lessen digestive upset issues. That's very smart. Very good. Kristen said, I almost forgot tonight's live. Hope all are well tonight. You too, Kristen. Ashley said, adding all the numbers. That's awesome. Also, one thing I will bring up is I know a lot of times we don't think about it. Some people don't. We talk about travel insurance all the time, for God's sake. There's so many people that don't even get travel insurance. But having pet insurance is something that's important. When I got Peanut, one of the things that I wanted to make sure was that I had pet medical insurance, because Dobermans are very prone to specific heart disease, which is called diabetic cardiomyopathy. So I made sure that I have that, but also it comes in handy if anything's going on. My vets already know where Peanut is at all times. And like Jess said, knowing the name of those people, where they're at. And then I have a limit. So I have a spending limit where if anything happens, they can take Peanut there. And without any authorization from me, they can get her treated up to a certain dollar amount. And then I have health insurance for Peanut just in case she needs like a massive surgery or anything like that, so it doesn't crush you. Ryan said, if you have a service dog, do you bring it everywhere on the cruise? I've heard of them being on board, but rarely see them. Can people enjoy the pool theater? Yeah, so service dogs by law can pretty much go everywhere that you can go. It depends on what you need that service dog for. Remember, they do not allow emotional support animals on cruises, so you can't bring your emotional support giraffe with you on the cruise. But you can bring an actual service dog. If you have a service dog that like will, if you're diabetic or it's for sight or anything like that, that dog there are zero restrictions for them. They can go anywhere that you can go.
Basically, if the dog is a part of you, like a wheelchair.
Yeah. They cannot be refused anywhere. So, and people get upset about it, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's for that person. That's life or death for that person. So, all right, Jess, you want to go over tracking tools?
Yeah, so the final thing you should leave with your pet sitter are tracking tools. It's really come a long way. Like I said, I'm a 90s kid, so back then you just had dog tags. But nowadays, there's just so much more, which is amazing for the safety of the pet, and it really gives you peace of mind. So the number one thing I recommend is a GPS tracker. I don't know if you heard about the dog that got lost in Australia when they went to Kangaroo Island, and it was a little wiener dog, and I think she was missing for like 18 months. They just had a really hard time tracking her down. There was sightings, and then there was another dog recently, um, who again was lost for, it was like over two different situations where it was a shelter dog with a foster family. They broke loose. New Orleans was trying to find this dog. Like everybody was aware. Thankfully, the shelter made everybody aware. So it was a lot of just like spotting with their phones and their neighbor cams, stuff like that. But a GPS tracker is super helpful because you can see where the dog is in real time. I have clients who use them and they fit really easily on the harness or on their collar. As speaking of the collar, you should definitely have tags on the dog. This is kind of like a weird tip, but I do recommend if you're going to go on a cruise and you're going to be away for a long time and you might not be easily reachable, get different tags for that have the contact phone number for your pet sitter. Because if somebody finds a loose dog and they look at the tag, they're going to call the number on the tag. And if they can't reach you, they're kind of at a dead end. So have it be the number for your pet sitter, and same with the GPS tracker. Make sure your pet sitter has access to the GPS tracker before you leave. So it's usually an app. And make sure they know how to charge the tracker, that they have the cable. And if you're bringing the dog to their house, make sure you bring the cable. So if by some chance a Good Samaritan were to find your dog and they don't have the right number on the tag or the collar came off or something like that, if they can bring them to the vet and see if they have a microchip. Again, make sure the contact information for the microchip, see if they can temporarily change it to your pet sitter's contact information, and or make sure you gave the consent, because the consent to the vet, and put your pet sitter's name on the dog's file. Because if they can find your primary vet and then it has your name on the file, it'll show that, oh, well, we can't reach them, but here's another number for the pet sitter. So it's like, three big things, but there's like all these different scenarios that could happen with fireworks season coming up. These are really good tools to have. And then the fourth one is also light and reflection on your dog, especially at night. So there's a lot of light up collars that you can just slip onto your dog. They're almost like glow sticks, but they are chargeable. So you can put a light up collar on the dog at night, and then I see some dogs that have reflective vests. And so if God forbid the dog gets out of the pet sitter's hands, at least with the light and the reflection, they're easily spottable with traffic, or just like the street lights. So, you know, you gave your pet sitter access to that GPS tracker. The pet sitter was walking your dog, put the light up collar on them. They've got their reflective vest on, and then a squirrel runs by, and unfortunately, the dog's leash gets out of the pet sitter's hand. The best pet sitters know that the first thing you do is you stay calm. And they just open up that GPS tracker app and they can see where the dog is, and then with the help of the light and the reflection, it makes them easier to track down, especially if they got into like the bushes. Like they might be a little nervous now, so they're trying to hide. So the light and the reflection are like the tail end of the tracking tools that I think are really helpful, especially with fireworks season happening now. But just make sure with those other three, when it comes to contact information, you got to update it to your pet sitter, or else they're kind of, you know, moot.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are great. All right, let's give away some stuff. Let's see what we got here. Let me just make sure. Tom said, what a great idea with the extra tags. Never thought of it that way. Yep, it's a great one. Roll Tie said, we have microchips on our dogs and horses. We also use GPS trackers on our dogs, but battery life is always an issue. Yeah, it sure is. I get that. All right, AJ, you ready? You good over there?
Yeah.
All right. Go for it.
All right.
First up, we're going to give away some mainly coffee. Thomas, congratulations. Now we're going to give away one of our Bite-Sized Cruises t-shirts. We have a whole bunch of new t-shirts coming in. They say, I'm a bite-sized cruiser. They should be here within the next 2 weeks. Ashley, congratulations. For you guys, feel free to email me. My email's on the screen there. Email me your address so I can send you stuff. Ashley, I have your address, so you're good. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
One more time, I'm going to put up Jess's little download that you guys can download. Jess's website is right here in front of her. It is shewalkswithdogs.com. If anybody's coming into Philadelphia for a cruise next year, please reach out. You can reach out to us or Jess, and we will pass on your information if you are looking for help with your dog. If you live in the area around here, like we all do, let us know, and we will get Jess in touch with you as well. All right, thanks so much, everyone. Next week, we will be live from Icon of the Seas. I'm guessing that the internet is going to be okay. So we will be live. Judy and I will be there. AJ will be manning the fort from home. AJ, unfortunately, will be here in Philadelphia, in Delco Strong. She'll be here. And then Sunday, I will have a video up. I won't be doing Cruise News Live because we'll be on the ship. So I don't think Tony Diaz is thrilled about Icon. The internet's not going to be good enough for me to do a live cruise news. So I will do video for that. And then that's it for now, everyone. And we will have all the videos of everything coming up. So hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week. And we will see you all next time. Thanks so much. Thanks again, Jess.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.